a repeat champion in the National Football League and look for the Chiefs to try and break that streak this upcoming season and become just the 9th team in NFL history to repeat as champions. I suppose at this point, guys, when you have a guy named Patrick Mahomes and your head coach is Andy Reid and there's consistency no matter who departs or arrives, anything is possible. But I guess, Kimberly, at this juncture, would you take the Chiefs or the field to repeat as Super Bowl champs?
I would take the Chiefs. And I think probability, obviously it's easy to say the field because, the Patriots are like the last team ever since like 03, 04, fine. But the two things that I bring up are who's the best coach in the NFL? Who's the best quarterback in the NFL? Who's the best head coach QB tandem in the NFL? It's the Kansas City Chiefs without a doubt. There are a few teams that you can say actually have a legit shot to repeat being in the Super Bowl, and I think the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, there's nothing like it. We have not seen a guy be this good, this talented. Will it be difficult? Yes. But what I love about the Chiefs is that each year their wide receiver room changes. Each year you're like, who's going to be the guy behind Kelsey? And somehow they figure it out. So that's why I would say the Chiefs.
Woody?
Yeah, listen, I appreciate what Kimberly's saying. She almost baited me into it, but I'm going with the field. It is so hard for one team, especially in the AFC, to really have that type of dominance. And we know that the Kansas City Chiefs have been to 5 straight AFC championship games, and I know that Patrick Mahomes and company have been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2. But if you look at the state of the AFC as a conference right now, it couldn't be any stronger than what it is. Also remember, Joe Burrow has a winning record against Patrick Mahomes. That's not a team, that's not a quarterback or an organization that's afraid of the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, we talk about the Los Angeles Chargers. They're a team that we talk about that could be on the rise again. We talk about the Baltimore Ravens, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. There are so many teams in the AFC. We haven't even scratched the surface on some of these other teams that's flying under the radar. What if Deshaun Watson returns to Deshaun Watson of 2020 when he was a top 5 quarterback? The AFC is absolutely stacked. So as great as Patrick Mahomes and company have been, and they are the preeminent franchise in the National Football League, it's going to be so much harder for those guys to repeat and continue to do what they've been doing with all these teams that we're seeing now.
I agree with some of that. And because I typically like options more than just putting all my eggs in one basket.
Oh, yeah, you need options.
You need options.
Yes.
We're big option people here. I can't not take the Kansas City Chiefs in this circumstance. Yes, we know the competitive balance in the NFL is probably the highest it's ever been. There's a reason that it's been 2 decades since we've seen a repeat champion. But when you take a look at what Patrick Mahomes did in his first couple seasons in the NFL, the 4-0 start that they got off to in 2019 and 2020, each of those years ended up with Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Go look at their schedule for this year. Those first 5 games, first 6 games, they don't have an AFC West opponent until the Chargers in Week 7. Lions, Jags, Bears, Jets, Vikings, Broncos. Would I be crazy to say that they might start out 5-0? Maybe 5-1, maybe even 6-0 by the time that they have their first real test when it's Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes. That's what I'm basing a lot of this on. Like, their schedule is incredibly favorable for them to jump out to a hot start. And we know in the AFC, go talk to the Cincinnati Bengals, sometimes 1 or 2 games can be the determining factor between who has home field advantage and who doesn't. And if the Kansas City Chiefs are able to take care of business, starting with that Thursday opener against the Detroit Lions, they're going to be cruising until they get to Week 7. And obviously Week 7 through 9, those real tests come in with their AFC West, their division opponents. But I don't think that they're going to lose a game until they get there.
Okay, I feel like if there was ever a year not to pick the Chiefs, it was going to be last year, right? Mm-hmm. Because we thought the AFC West was going to be completely stacked and loaded. Clearly, we were wrong. Feels like this, yeah, right. It feels like this upcoming season, more than ever in the AFC West, AFC West is a very gettable division. So for that reason alone, I would feel like the Chiefs have an easier path to get to where they want to go. However, I would take the field in this situation because, Courtney, I do like options as well. And also, the Chiefs better find a way to figure this thing out with Chris Jones, because if they don't, that defense takes a dip significantly. Without him on the field, their third down conversion rate goes down significantly. The QBR goes down convincingly. So they definitely need him, and they need that defense all up to speed. But as we keep saying over and over, there's a reason the Patriots were the last team to do it 2 decades ago. And it's the same with the Heisman, with picking the Super Bowl, with picking the MVP. The field just feels like the better option
It's
because
the
of
easy
safer
option.
one.
It's the easy option, and I don't do easy. Here's the thing, Damien. You listed off all these teams. Let me put on my glasses real quick. So you listed all these teams: the Ravens, the Bengals, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Browns, Steelers, Chargers. Ooh, the AFC. Okay, those teams playing the Chiefs. Who are you picking in those games?
Well, I would favor the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. That's all. Okay.
Even against the Bengals, I don't know. The Bengals have had their number.
They have, but you would give it to Patrick because we just saw them beat the Bengals too, and you know that Patrick is the better quarterback. The Bengals are the toughest matchup for them. The Bills, even Bills Chiefs, you would still say the Chiefs are the favorite team. So I understand the AFC is stacked, but this is what the Chiefs are just they're a class above everybody else for right now.
The Kansas City Chiefs have had 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years. They just missed it. They almost did it 4 in a row with a 3-point loss to Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the in the conference round. And so, if they do make it back to the Super Bowl this year, or given what they've already done, do you consider this Chiefs team a dynasty? Damien, what do you think?
Not so fast, my friends. Not a dynasty yet. It's not, and listen, they've been pretty damn dominant. Obviously, I talked about a few minutes ago 5 straight AFC Championship games, which is mind blowing. They've won 2 Super Bowls in 3 appearances, which is pretty great. But we gotta stop floating around dynasty like dynasty is rarefied air. Okay, that's what New England was, a dynasty, rarefied air. When you win 3 out of 4. And back-to-back Super Bowls, now you're talking a whole different level. Because I know, going back to a Super Bowl and winning it is extremely hard. Because every team that you play after you come off of the Super Bowl plays you like it's their Super Bowl. So if the Kansas City Chiefs can go back this year and win a Super Bowl, now we can have that discussion. But for right now, I'm not going to put them in dynasty just yet. Not yet.
You know what? D Wood is just saying that because his Patriots blue is showing. Nobody, the Patriots, we're the Giants, we're the greats. I get it, Bishop, I get it. But to me, when I think of a dynasty, what is a dynasty? It is excellence over a considerable period of time. When I think of the Chiefs, I consider what they're doing right now a considerable period of time where we consistently look at them as the standard, the team to beat. Patrick Mahomes, when you think about, he has more Super Bowl wins than some of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. So for that reason, I will say yes, because every year we go into it like the Chiefs are that team. They are the team to beat. They are the standard, and everybody else is catching up to them.
Not yet. I'm going to tell you to pump your brakes on that, because what about the New York Giants? They won 2 Super Bowls.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the New York Jets for a second. I thought that was going to
we don't
derail
consider them a dynasty. The dynasty in football terms are 3 Super Bowl wins in a period of about 5 years. Take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were the dynasty in the 1970s. The San Francisco 49ers, the dynasty of the 1980s, and dare I say it, the Dallas Cowboys. We don't mention them on the show a lot, do we?
Never.
They were the dynasty in the 90s because 92, 93, I believe it was 95. That stretch. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are close to this, but even if you ask Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't willing to put them in that category just yet. He defined a dynasty as a team winning 3 in a period of about 5 years. They're on the cusp of doing that, following the first one that they won in 2019, and then, of course, what they did last year. They win one more, they're an unquestioned dynasty, but they're already a dynastic team, because think about how they won the Super Bowl last year. They had 10 rookies playing in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes on a hobbled ankle, still coming off the MVP season. 2 MVPs for him throughout his career, league-wide MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. It's hard not to pick this team, like we were going back to what we were saying before, as a Super Bowl team.
You're giving a lot of ammo for my argument here about.
Okay, well, I'm trying to tee you up on this, because how can you put them in dynasty category just yet when all the things I laid out have not happened? I need to see a third before I'm ready to put them in that category. Otherwise, I'd love to know how you define a dynasty if it's not 3.
No, for me it is excellence, right? It's excellence over a period of time. It is.
There are a lot of
literally-
teams that were excellent over a period of time that didn't win 3 Super Bowls.
That's fair. But but when you also talk about Patrick Mahomes, like when you talk about the fact that he already has 2 Super Bowls and they're already the favorite to win it this year, that to me, they're in rarefied air right now because dynasties are a rare thing. And I think every other team looks at the Chiefs like we understand we have to go through Arrowhead.
Damien, what do you think? Maybe there's a difference between dynasty and very good teams and rarefied air. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's hard to label a dynasty when you're currently in it. But what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like the conversation when people make the distinction of guys who are very, very good and Hall of Fame. Like there's levels to it. I think right now with the Kansas City Chiefs, they're like elite. They're very good. But when you're talking dynasty, again, this is rarefied air. Like I would only consider a dynasty. You at minimum you got to win 3 out of 4, 3 out of 5. Like it's got to be a bunch of Super Bowls in a short period of time. Now I would say this for the Kansas City Chiefs, they got a tremendous runway. Why? Because their quarterback is the best quarterback in the league, and he's young. Okay, I think Patrick Mahomes, 27 years old, and he's got so much ahead of him. And then you got, Andy Reid, the best coach in the National Football League right now. And so they have a tremendous runway to continue to add on to those Super Bowl appearances and Super Bowl titles. But right now, I'm just not going to put the cart before the horse. I think they're the preeminent franchise, but are they a dynasty? Not yet.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're a dynasty yet either. I feel like Tom Brady literally passed his torch over to Patrick Mahomes because Tom Brady did such wonderful things in New England and then obviously with the Bucs. And then it felt like Patrick Mahomes was like, I'm here now, I'm young, let me do the same kind of things. And while, yes, he's won 2 Super Bowls and they are the standard and they are in rarefied air. Every year, they're going to be in this thing. It doesn't matter what happens in the regular season, how bad the defense is. If they need to get rid of their number 1 wide receiver, it don't matter. They find ways to make it work. But yet at the same time, I do feel like saying a dynasty when you're in it and you're feeling it every single year is hard to do. This Jets team is going to look vastly different. But the responsibility of everyone on this roster is to get comfortable with the quarterback and get comfortable with Aaron Rodgers. And last year we saw Aaron Rodgers take a little bit of a dip, no surprise, hence why he probably ended up in New York. But the question now is, do you think he's going to play at that MVP type level, considering all the newness around him, Damien?
I do. I do. I think that, what you're seeing from Aaron Rodgers throughout this whole process of the guy that's committed. I think this is a guy that's going to be playing. He's going to be playing pissed off, to be quite honest with you, because everyone's been talking about, he had a dip last year. Maybe he's lost a step or whatever. I can tell you just from being out in practice and watching him, that is absolutely not the case. That dude is dropping dimes all over the field. This dude he's been with the organization all throughout the offseason program, which is something that he hadn't done in Green Bay in quite some time. He's, obviously mentoring and taking time and trying to bring these guys along. This dude really wants to bounce back in a big way. And the Jets have weapons. The Jets have a lot of really, really high-end weapons that can help him facilitate those type of things. Now, will it take off, right out of the gate? No, a lot of offenses come out slower than the defensive side of the football. But I think when it's all said and done, when we get to, December, January, we're going to see a guy that's operating, on all cylinders in New York.
So when I think of MVP level, like I think like Patrick Mahomes last year threw for 5,000 plus yards. Like I think of that. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play to that level. I think Aaron Rodgers will have an excellent season, but I actually think the Jets will win this division. But I think on the strength of their defense, I think, Damien, you pointed it out. Look at how they start this season. They got the Bills, they got the Cowboys, they got the Patriots, they got the Chiefs. Like it's going to be a gauntlet to start. And I think you're going to see, I think it's naive to assume that this Jets team is going to come out the gate and just blow everybody away. You still need, this is a new offensive coordinator, a new roster, new pieces, new quarterback. Like as much as I think the Jets are going to be really good, I think the Jets can still be good without Aaron Rodgers throwing for 5,000 yards. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think they need him to have that type of season to be this amazing team. So I think he's going to have a very good year. Almost feels like the dynasty, very good, dynastic. Like he's going to have a very good season, but I don't think he's going to win the MVP.
I think he'll play at an MVP level. I don't think he will win the MVP, but I do our MVP file for ESPN.com. So I'm going through this every 4 to 6 weeks after the Week 6 season. He's going to be in our top 5 because he's going to be playing with a regenerized air around him. He's going to be playing on a team that's built towards his strengths with a play caller who, remember, Nathaniel Hackett didn't call plays for Aaron Rodgers when he was in Green Bay. He was his offensive coordinator, but it was Matt LaFleur and his offense that was, being relayed to Aaron Rodgers in his headset. Might there be some growing pains, as Kimberly pointed out, with that tough schedule to start the season? Sure. But I don't think that you're going to be getting any sort of drop-off or any Aaron Rodgers that you saw last year. My concern here is not on Aaron Rodgers. It's on the wide receiver core. I mean, you heard McCole Hardeman there talking about, Aaron's a tricky guy. He wants things a certain way. Where do we hear that? We heard that last year with his young receivers like Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs not being able to figure out the hand signals or whatever else the issue was in Green Bay. You have a more veteran group here, but the concern I have are the drops. Corey Davis is a scapegoat for this Jets fan base since 2021. All of his drops. Alan Lazard, a 12.4 career percentage of drops. Not great. Even McCole Hardeman had dealt with that throughout his career, whether it was in Kansas City or now coming over to the New York Jets. So I think I'm putting it more on the receivers to make sure they're doing their part so Aaron Rodgers can operate within the confines of this offense. Look, he's already won 3 MVPs. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't not fairly put him in that category as somebody who can win another MVP because he's shown us he can do it with a different cast of characters around him, and he certainly has a different supporting cast around him. Now, will he get help from the offensive line? Will Nathaniel Hackett be a good play caller? Those are the things that, the jury's still out on, but I say he plays at an MVP level in 2023.
What I think we've seen with Aaron Rodgers is that when he develops relationships with these receivers, or even Nathaniel Hackett, it doesn't matter, but specifically on the field with receivers, he tends to go to them more. He likes to know that he can trust guys. We used to see this with Brady too. If he thinks you're going to drop the football or you're not going to do what he wants you to do, he ain't going to throw it to you. That's just who he is, and maybe that comes with being a veteran. And so at this point, I would agree with you, Courtney. I do feel like while he's going to play at an MVP level, this is more an onus on the rest of the offense. Last year, this offense ranked in the bottom of the league in points per game, yards per play, and efficiency, 29th, 26th, and 30th, respectively. You can't just expect them to go top 5 in the blink of an eye. There has to be some sort of accountability in terms of chemistry here with this entire team. And Damian, as you know, that's hard to do in shorts without pads on every day.
Yeah, also, remember, we're like a month away from even the first regular season game, so there's still a lot of runway for these guys to continue to work. And I'll just, at the point that you just brought up, I'm going to flip it on now. I'm going to flip it on the Jets' defensive side. Okay, 2 years ago, the Jets had the worst defense in the National Football League in points per game. Last year, they were 4th. Okay, so this thing can get flipped around real quick. And you're talking about a Jets offense that had arguably the worst quarterback play of any team in the National Football League. Now you have a motivated Aaron Rodgers jumping into the mix. I expect this whole unit to make significant strides this year.
I think, Shay, the numbers you just brought up about what the Jets offense looked like last year, I thought those were key because think about what the Jets had at QB last year. They had Zach Wilson, then Mike White, and then Joe Flacco. So Aaron Rodgers doesn't need to play at MVP level for this team, a team that almost made the playoffs last year with that quarterback room.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.